Welcome to Freethinker Radio on KPFT, our first FM broadcast. I'm Micah, and I'm here with...
Hey, everyone, this is Derek Bros.
It's 3 o'clock here at KPFT. We're very glad to be here, and this is, like I said, our premiere episode. And
we are on FM now. We're excited. And as Micah said, this is our debut episode of FM Freethinker Radio. And today, for our debut episode, we want to just get into who we are, what we do, what Freethinker Radio is, a little bit of the history behind it. And then in the second half of the show, we actually have an interview today with Matt Cagle, who is an attorney with the American Civil Liberties Union of Northern California, today to talk to us about 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 Northern California, today to talk to 5G, smart cities, and various privacy and security concerns around that issue. So please stay tuned for that. We're really excited about that. And, of course, we're thankful for KPFT because, me and Micah were just kind of stoked on just the fact that we've graduated to the FM now.
Definitely. We are stoked to be here to have Freethinker Radio on FM. And one of the things we're really most thankful for is all your support that's come through in the years that we've done this, and especially since we've been over here at KPFT. It's through your support and KPFT's belief in the show that we're able to bring you our views and the music that we're able to share, the events that go on. And yeah, it's been a long time, and it does feel like an accomplishment, and we were congratulated by the station manager before we started our show, so that felt even more like an accomplishment. But
we're stoked about it, to say the least.
Yes, definitely, and we're glad to speak to all the new people who haven't heard Freethinker Radio, because we know we've reached a broader audience now, and so we did a little video with some of our history.
Yeah, let's share a little bit of that, because, well, first things first, to let you guys know, as Micah said, so we have been on KPFT already, but on the HD2 dial. So we have a show there that we've been doing since 2016 now, which is also called Freethinker Radio. It's 2 hours. Today's show is just from 3 to 4, and we'll be here every Friday from 3 to 4. But on Mondays, we're on the HD2 side, so for those of you who have maybe HD radios and newer cars, you can access that and listen to it 90.1-2 in your car, or of course you can always listen online at kpft.org/listen, and we're on Mondays from 4 to 6 on that H2 dial, where we'll take some of the stories we talk about today and we'll go a little bit more in depth in them, and sometimes we might play interviews on this show that are going to be a little bit shorter than what we'll play on Mondays. So there are benefits to listening to both if you want to tune in to get double dose of Micah and Derek and Freethinker Radio.
We'll be on either side of your weekend.
Yeah, so Fridays or Mondays. And so, yeah, our show, though, we started in July 2011, early 2011. Both of us...
That's a long time ago.
It's been a while. Both of us involved with the activist community, the Houston Freethinkers, and just through networking and doing various forms of activism, at the time working with... Well, actually, this was before Occupy Houston even launched, actually. But working with just other activists on different causes, we ended up getting invited onto a show on what was formerly known as Local Live Houston, Local Live Radio. Shout out to Jordan Pinnell and everybody who is behind that, and everybody who remembers Local Live Houston. It was a great time in Houston to have that radio, all kinds of different musicians and activists and people coming together. So we were invited on one of the shows, and then after a couple of months of being guests,
Freedom of Information Radio.
Yeah, that's where we kind of had our start. And then basically they were like, all right, you guys talk too much. You need your own show. So we started Freethinker Radio that summer, and we were on Local Live for a number of years. And then after a while, once Local Live took some time off, we started for a bit doing like our own podcasting and just posting that online. And then 2016, as I said, we came here to KPFT, to do what we do now, and we've been now on the HD2 dial for 2 years now, and now we're here on FM, so we're super excited about this, and we're going to tell you guys a little bit as well about what you can expect to hear from us. For one, this show is what we call uncensored news, right? News that's beyond the left-right paradigm, so to speak, and local music and local events as well. So you're going to hear throughout the show, we'll play 3 or 4 songs. We got some good music for you guys today. It's all going to be Houston music. Sometimes we'll feature other artists from outside of the city who are maybe conscious artists in different genres. But a mix of music, local music. We'll talk about local events that are important to us and activism going on. And then also be covering a few different stories, and as I said earlier, interviewing guests. So we're talking with an ACLU attorney today. Sometimes we might interview journalists, we might interview activists, we might interview politicians. We've interviewed presidential candidates in the past, senators, all kinds of different people. So it's been a great experience, and that's kind of what you can expect. We personally don't really wear any particular label on the political spectrum. Micah and I definitely wouldn't call ourselves progressives or really anything. We don't really try to wear labels, but definitely the news that we cover is going to be taking the perspective from beyond the left, right, beyond the Democrats and the Republicans, and even just, those labels and the idea of left and right, and trying to get to the bottom of it. And we do usually come from what I guess you could call a freedom-based perspective, and we try to approach things from multiple angles. So we're really excited about that, to share news and information with you guys that are important to us, and do it in the fashion that we have become accustomed to and been used to. And hopefully through that get to meet some of our new listeners and our new callers and friends.
I know we have a new caller now.
Do we have a caller now?
I think he needed to call the front, and now he's on here, and I was trying to find the other number to let people know.
Okay. Well, if you called in to try to get the front desk, we apologize. Maybe try on the website, kpft.org. There's the main number. One other thing I want to mention, though, is about what we're going to do here. So I said before about local events. I'll cover just a local event that I know that's coming up. Well, actually, first, Mike, anything else you want to add to the history of Freethinker Radio and just what they can expect from us here on the show?
Well, that was a kind of a distracting phone call, and I tried to hear what you said. So if I mention something again, it's only because I think it's important. But I think that one of the things that was most interesting and what gave Freethinker Radio its initial impetus was the amount of engagement that we received from the community. We still receive a lot of support, but we want to get that engagement back, with the ideas, people calling in to talk about the ideas, calling in to offer up an article that they read that they found, this problem with or thought was really insightful. And to that end, we're redeveloping the website to host forums. And did you speak of that?
I know, I didn't mention that. Go ahead. I'm actually setting that up right now.
And one of the reasons this is so important is because, community radio, all the rest of the time we're sitting here and you're just kind of hearing what's coming out from some, I guess you could call it a hierarchical structure. And not that that's all bad, but here you're finding people that are doing the work, things like this. And so actually I'll use an instance to get at what I'm talking of. We had listeners that had taken pictures of the TSA on Houston Metro. And no matter how much you think the TSA is a great thing.
Who's the TSA?
That's, what is that? The Transportation Safety Administration, part of the Department of Homeland Security, and that big alphabet soup thing. So we had listeners send us photos of the TSA, basically asking people questions on the Metro. And while this might not seem like a big deal to some, if you think about this being a freedom-oriented show, well, there's lots of, within our hearts, we can, know, and in our minds recognize freedom and begin a discussion from our original perspective. But there's also other work that's been done out there, just like in music and other fields. There's other work, there's people that can show you what a chord is. They can show you these different things. So my point is, there's works in the world to tell us about freedom. And one thing that often is used is the Bill of Rights. So looking at that, there's one there, you got freedom of speech, which we'll talk about later and in many episodes, the Second Amendment, you got Third Amendment, get to the Fourth Amendment. That's your right to be free in your person from unwarranted searches and seizures.
Is definitely being violated all the time.
Yeah. And you don't give up
especially along the borders.
Yeah. And you don't give up your right, your Fourth Amendment right, just because you ride a Houston Metro. And, do we need federal officers on this, on our public transportation here? Is it that bad? Et cetera, et cetera. So, we went to the board meeting because of this, and all of this was stimulated because of a listener sending this stuff in and being able to initiate action with a group larger than themselves. And I think that's the power of community radio. We're all able to reach more than ourselves. You as the listener are able to call in, reach us. Yep. We're able to reach people with these microphones and the Tower of Power and the Mighty 90. I've been waiting to get over here and say those things.
Here in the heart of Montrose, Houston, Texas. No, I just want to add to that, and then we're going to go to our first song. which is going to be who we're listening to first. Oh, actually, Jumbotron. Hello, Ubermensch, some friends of ours. I hope you guys are ready for this one. But just the last thing before we go to that song and then come back and get into our first story is that, yeah, when we had a caller, a supporter of the Houston Freethinkers and Freethinker Radio take pictures of people being randomly searched on the metro downtown, we know that people who typically ride the metro are low income and people of color, and they're affected directly by that. And that led to... I
ride the metro, and I am low income.
And so do I as well. And that led to us talking about it and covering the story and, you know, people getting support, and eventually us being the first city, the only city in the country to kick the TSA off of the metro. Yeah. So we were successful in that effort, and that all came from, you know, our community radio at the time. So our point with saying all that is, welcome to Freethinker Radio. We want you to be involved. We want you to call in. We want you to listen. The other thing I want to say, if you go to the HoustonFreethinkers.com, we have a forum. You can follow along as we post the stories and the links that we're talking about. And also on Freethinker Radio on Facebook, we'll be posting some of the links there. So lots of ways to interact with us. And eventually we might do a live stream of us while we're doing the show. We'll see where we take it.
This is not TV. Although I did get dressed just in case we did get on that camera.
But, yeah, so we're going to go to our first song. We got that ready yet? I think, what is it?
Oh, fine.
Tell me about this.
Ready.
Who is it? Tell them about El Jumbotron.
I will let the sound speak for itself.
All right, the sound will
They've
speak
been
for
guests.
itself.
We'll tell them this. They've been guests.
They've been on our show. They
yes.
might be listening right now. Hopefully they're listening. If not, some of their friends are listening. But
and if not, you're about to be one of their friends. Listen.
Hello, Ubermensch from El Jumbotron on Freethinker Radio, 90.1 KPFT Houston. We'll be right back.
you're dead anyway. I got my hands in my pants and I'm ready to dance. I got a hole in my soul, I'm ready to go. I take an eye for an eye as a lead in the line. Why run away from the pain? You get anyway. Always from a father to a son, I will go on and on. I'm ready to go. Too late, no more beating from the bottom of my heart, I'm ready to go.
All right. Whoa, that's a rocking good time.
That's a cliff you fall off at the end. That is a great song, and
my head's still banging. But that was our friends El Jumbotron, of course, right here from Houston, Texas, over there in the East End. You can check them out. They got a little venue they call the House of J over there on the East End, and there's always some good shows going on there. The El Jumbotron House, but you can find them on Bandcamp and all over the internet.
I just read about House of J and something from the Fails. I guess they played there and they were talking about how awesome it was.
It was apparently really awesome. They had a solstice event that was just crazy, and that was formerly known as the Freethinker House, where the Houston Freethinkers did activity. And we are, as I said earlier, kind of born out of the Houston Freethinkers, which the website where you can find all the content about what we are posting today, of course, is on the forum on the HoustonFreethinkers.com. As far as the activist community, we're always open to new ideas, but things ebb and flow in the activist world, and so it seems to have kind of petered out for the moment. But we're happy to be here representing those ideas and that message and the awareness through Freethinker Radio. And one of the things that we've been really trying to spread awareness about for the last I guess October at least, definitely the radio, we've been talking about it for going on 4 or 5 months now. And I know there has been local activism, and that is the issue of 5G and the Internet of Things.
Oh my God!
The smart cities.
There's an issue now with 5G.
There's an issue.
I mean, I guess you better bring us up to speed.
All right, so let's get into this. So for those who are unaware, first 5G. What is that? Let's define our terms, right? 5G, fifth generation cellular technology. We're currently using 4G. Most people 4G or 4G LTE. These are the kind of terms you might be familiar with.
3G.
And 3G before that. If you go back, like first generation was basically like the first phones, right? Like the little big block phones, right? 2G was when you started to get texting. 3G was the first, images and some video, but minor capabilities. But 4G is what we have all become accustomed to, constant streaming of YouTube and whatever platform you want, and little to no lag in some areas, things like that, right? That's 4G technology. The move to 5G or fifth generation technology is not slated to be complete or, functional till 2020, but we've been seeing that the infrastructure started to get laid out, and
so it's faster.
It's supposed to be. It's
better.
It's promised to be 100 times faster.
And better.
These are what the big telecoms are saying, right?
They're saying faster and better, right?
Faster.
My fridge can call me and let me know I'm out of ice cream.
No, they're promising driverless cars, robot assistants, virtual reality, augmented reality, and then all sorts of things like, we can help with traffic and pollution by putting sensors and everything, and then have smart city, smart grid, this kind of idea, right? So Houston itself, where we're located, like I said, it's not slated to be complete till 2020, but all over the nation in 2018, the end of 2018, the first networks were starting to be put in place, including in Houston with Verizon. So let me take you back to a time of July 2018, when Houston's Mayor Sylvester Turner has a press conference where he announces, he stands with city officials and Verizon officials and announces a new 5G partnership with Verizon, promising to remove all restrictions and regulations and speed up the approval process to make sure that Houston can become this, future smart city and, not get left behind. And there was a lot of pride in the mayor's decision and based on his statements. Then you get up to September 2018, and Mayor Turner receives the 5G Wireless Champion Award from the Ctia. And the Ctia is essentially the lobby group of the big telecoms. It's known as the Cellular, Telephone, and Internet Association. So they give him this award, little clear plaque thing, and call him the Wireless Champion Award for specifically what he announced months before.
For making it faster and better.
For making it the process, the approval process faster and better, and for them, for the telecoms. And then, like I said, we've been talking about this since October. So then October 1st, the city holds another kind of press event, and the mayor announced the world's first 5G customer. And he met with Verizon CEO Hans Vestberg, and the Mayor Turner got together with some press officials and government city officials, and they went to a local resident's house where they installed 5G, and they had it was just a big press event. And I was there, and I was actually able to interview and question the mayor and the CEO of Verizon. You can find those videos online on the Conscious Resistance YouTube channel, which is my YouTube channel. And I asked the mayor directly about privacy concerns and health concerns, some of the things that I've been reading online or that I've seen people themselves express. I asked the same thing to the Verizon CEO. Neither man said they heard anything or knew anything about that. And, it kind of continued. So I began going to city council. Other people got interested. And now
faster.
Now, yeah, that's the whole thing. But it's going to be faster, the technology, right? So there's no need to ask questions. But a couple of points I want to bring to your attention, and then we're going to play an interview that we did with Matt Cagle of the ACLU of Northern California. So by October, when the city is announcing the world's first 5G customer, when I started attending city council and other people started going to city council and other people started emailing and calling the city and the mayor, and so far I've not received any response. We mentioned various studies that have, and various just news related to 5G, whether you're talking about the health side, the people's health concerns about being surrounded by so many devices, because the thing from the shift from 4G to 5G is not just the same as the shift from 3G to 4G. It is, the thing about 5G and what they want to have, this driverless vehicles and all these sensors and smart lights and smart homes and smart fridges and smart cars and all this. The thing about 5G, the spectrum that it operates on in the millimeter waves, they only travel about 500 feet. So in order for that to operate effectively, they have to install hundreds, if not thousands, of more what they call small cells, and these could be in the form of like a big tower, or the size of a fridge, or the size of a suitcase attached to some already existing infrastructure. But in other cities where the infrastructure is starting to be spread, people are definitely concerned. I've talked to people here in actually Houston. We might talk to them maybe in the coming weeks, Micah. This is kind of an interesting development. Somebody contacted me about trying to organize a meeting for their HOA, and because they said, they're building this tower for 5G right near our schools here in Houston, and this is off of West New York and Eldridge, and so it's real. It's happening in Houston. The rollout's taking place, and so these people were saying, hey, we're going to try to see if maybe our HOA can resist in some way. Unfortunately, now this is kind of how it relates from local to federal. A couple months back, the FCC made a rule change which essentially handed the rollout of 5G over to the federal government. So there's now a rule that is the law of the land that says localities, cities, counties, states, etc. cannot set not only the prices, but you can't set the infrastructure and set.
Sound like a monopoly, man.
I mean, it's a partnership.
Even
between,
if you're worried about 5G, that's look how bad this web is. Like, you got this whole monopoly thing, right? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, just like with all kinds of other things, you get. This time you're saying the FCC saying all these waves are ours, like all these 5G waves are ours. We're going to say how they'll be. You can't play the game unless you're licensed from us, et cetera, et cetera. So accepting that.
Well, and not only so on the federal level with the FCC taking that ruling, right? The FCC already has problems. If you look into them, they're definitely tied to what is known as big wireless or big telecom, right? But down to the local level where, as I said, the mayor's pretty close with Verizon here and with the telecom industry. And the only statement he's given at city council meetings was literally a statement that said, I love 5G. That's all. Like, it was kind of like a mocking statement, really, 5G. More than anything. But so from the federal to the local level, the telecoms are connected to the government. You have people who are involved in the FCC, which is who's regulating this, who are connected to the big telecom industries, and they're just like with the Monsanto kind of revolving door with government. You have the revolving door between big telecom and the FCC and these industries, and so there has been some resistance. I do want to say this: Michigan State Senator Patrick Colbert, he spoke out against the unprecedented rollout of this new untested technology. Dr. Sharon Goldberg, a medical doctor certified in internal health, testified to the Michigan State Senate a couple months with her concerns. We've had Connecticut State Senator Richard Blumenthal, who called on the FCC commissioner to provide documentation confirming his statements that 5G is safe and the health is safe for people. The Washington, D.C. Advisory Neighborhood Commissions issued a resolution regarding 5G health concerns, saying they would not implement them until further studies. The National Toxicology Program study recently, back in November, concluded pretty like conclusively that 2G and 3G, which now we're moved out, we're moved on to 5G, has been linked to tumors in rats and cancer and rats. And, Project Censored from 2018, Project Censored, some of you may be familiar with, they named an article by The Nation, which was titled "How Big Wireless Convinced the U.S. Convinced Us That Cell Phones Are Safe." They named that the fourth most censored story of 2018. So that's just an example. And then this is now where we're ending up more related to the interview that we're about to play. A couple months back, or maybe even about a year or two ago, the American Civil Liberties Union released a guide for cities called "How to Prevent Smart Cities from Turning to Surveillance Cities." So as we're covering this issue, there's the health concerns. And, Micah and I aren't scientists, so we're careful with the things we talk about that. But definitely there's more than a handful of studies that are concerning. And we are working on getting some health officials, doctors or some scientists to come and talk about that and talk particularly about the science behind it. And there's the privacy concerns that we're going to cover today. But there's also, as I said, the property concerns, right? Because, for example, we're talking about building somebody told me that they're building something 30 feet away from their window, right? I mean, you might not want that. You have no say in it, though.
I mean, I'm sorry to bring up my own anecdotal evidence, but there's a pole right out my driveway where I back out.
Yeah, I mean, so this is and with 5G, because again, like, who are you going to complain to? In reality, I think one of the reasons the city council hasn't responded to this, and if you're concerned about this, I would, suggest going to city council on Tuesday and expressing your concerns, or sending out some emails, sending out some calls. There is a Facebook group called Houstonians Concerned with 5G.
So I think we need to recap like what maybe like some of the main concerns are, because I'm looking here at your videos, for example, Derek, and there's obviously people concerned, but you named the experts, right? You gave us all the experts and why some of them are concerned. But your videos here on 5G are close to 500,000 views already, and they only been up there about 60 days or less.
Yeah.
And my point is that's
people
a lot more than just, and I think that's the thing here, right? Maybe 5G is okay. I don't know, because we're not experts, as you pointed out, on this. But, we're getting to the point as we're going faster and faster, and technology is so much beyond what your average person is capable of getting quickly. But decisions are being made and they're being sold, and we're all going to be, what was this term that they were using? Electric smog. We're all going to be
digital smog or something like that.
Yes, and we're all going to be within the consequences of these decisions. So whether right or wrong, there might be a point where we need to slow down and get a critical mass to understand the implications. Even if 5G's like bumper cars, I mean. So
that's one of the reasons this is going to be not just today's episode, but over the coming months, because this is coming to Houston. This is going to be, it's rolling out over the next year. We will discuss different aspects. So the interview we're about to play now is with Matt Cagle, an attorney with the ACLU of Northern California. And he's going to talk to us about the privacy and security concerns. So let's tune into this, and we'll go into a song after this, and we'll be back with you guys. And we've been talking about 5G, fifth generation technology, cellular technology, the Internet of Things, and how that is affecting Houston and what's going on here in Houston. To hear more specifically about security and privacy concerns, we are talking with Matt Cagle, who is an attorney with the ACLU of Northern California. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm great. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. So we're interested in this topic as I've just been explaining to the audience. We've been discussing what's going on in Houston. There's a kind of a push towards more infrastructure, and the mayor really promoting all the positive aspects of the Internet of Things, saying that we'll have robot assistants in the city and autonomous vehicles and better traffic and things of this sort. But some city council members have been made aware. Various people in the city have started an activist group called Houstonians Concerned with 5G and kind of, I think, the Internet of Things more largely, and have visited city council, and they mentioned an ACLU report that was written by the ACLU that you're affiliated with, discussing how to prevent smart cities from turning into surveillance cities. And that's kind of what we're dealing here with, as Houston, the fourth largest city in the country, and other cities move towards being smart cities and on the smart grid. There are a number of privacy concerns that have come about. And so I'd love to get your take on this whole situation and what it means for the people of Houston.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think as a background issue, it's really important to remember that when we talk about smart city technology or the Internet of Things in the government context, that what we're really talking about is, electronics that are maybe small and cheap that can be placed around the city and that essentially can be designed to collect information, whether it's visual information or audio information or information about, say, whether a parking space is occupied. But before any smart city technology is acquired or deployed, it's really important that a city working with its community determine whether that technology is actually smart for the city to do. Why do we say that? Well, that's because, smart city technology can be a wolf in sheep's clothing. It can be another way for the government to amass information that it may not have wanted to collect for law enforcement purposes, but that might be vulnerable to that sort of use later, or that they may not have wanted to collect for immigration purposes, but that could potentially be vulnerable to that later. And again, this technology is often going to be collected by technologies that companies have developed. And so it's really important for the city and the community to be on the same page about who's going to own this data if we go forward with this project, who's going to be able to sell this data, and at the end of the day, are communities in control of these technologies?
Yeah, absolutely. You hit on a few different points there that I want to explore a little bit further. So first, let's get a little bit deeper in the explanation of what exactly the Internet of Things is, as far as the coming, what some say, tens and thousands of more interconnected devices. Can you give us a clearer definition of what the Internet of Things is and how that relates to these various data that you're discussing?
Right. So as technology is developed and sensors and technology have grown more advanced, it's become easier and easier to put sensors and communication technology in everything from a street lamp to a parking space under the road. And so what the Internet of Things generally refers to is a sort of world of devices that could be connected through internet or cellular connections and that can communicate easily in ways that, before the Internet of Things, it was our cell phones and it was radio towers and it was our computers at home that would be connecting and communicating over the Internet. But now, with the dropping price of sensors and the sort of growing sophistication of technology, it's possible to, connect lots of other devices that we've used for a long time to the Internet, whether it's, again, city and government devices like street lamps and parking spaces, or, our toaster at home or our microwave at home. So this is about adding connectivity and about adding sort of data flows to devices and things that we're all already very familiar with.
So to bring it a little bit closer to home, we're just a couple of weeks out from the Christmas season, and I'm sure some people listening have come home with or received gifts in the form of, say, a Google Nest or a Alexa or Echo and all these various devices that are becoming more normalized in the smart homes of the future. Each of those devices then is vulnerable. Is that correct?
They're not necessarily vulnerable, but those are Internet of Things devices. I think it's really important that before we, take an Alexa speaker and we place it in our home, or before we take maybe a speaker or a sensor from a company who we're less familiar with in Amazon and place it in our homes, that we're being explained by these companies what these devices are collecting and how the information is going to be used. I think it's not often clear how a company like Google or Amazon is going to use our data, in the same way that it's not completely clear how Facebook will use our data. So, these companies really have an obligation when they're asking people to put devices in their homes to explain fully how that information is going to be used. In the same way, when a company comes to a city government and they say, hey, we want you to connect your city with the Internet of Things, that company has an obligation to explain to residents what exactly they're going to collect and what their plans are for using it. And it's incumbent on policymakers to make sure if they move forward, if the community wants to move forward with adding connectivity, that they ask hard questions and place real limits on what these companies can do with the data.
As we move towards the Internet of Things, one of the key components here is the 5G fifth generation cellular technology that we're kind of seeing the beginning of, and more infrastructure laid down. Here in Houston, the city has partnered with Verizon, and a couple months back they announced the world's first 5G customer here in Houston, and they kind of had a big press event making a big thing about it. And the mayor has been awarded the 5G Wireless Award, Champion Award by the basically the telecom industry, the Ctia, for removing all restrictions and for they said for speeding up the permitting process to bring in the 5G technology, which will allow the Internet of Things. And that's, why we're talking about this, is as people start to consider not only the devices, as you said, like we were talking about Amazon and the kind of things we buy and place in our homes ourselves, but also how, as the city installs infrastructure, you mentioned being able to put sensors and things in the lights, the smart lights. We've also got some cities that have had the gunshot detectors and various things that are put in there for either convenience or to improve traffic, they say, and these kinds of things, but that also have this privacy risk along with that. What would you recommend to Houstonians who are hearing these things and seeing what's going on, the direction the city's moving, as far as getting their voices heard and expressing their concerns?
Yeah, it's really important that, policymakers in any city that's looking at smart city technology and the networks that will power that technology, it's important that the policymakers and elected representatives hold community meetings, create opportunities to explain these technologies fully to the public, and explain to the public, alongside any potential corporate partners, how the data is going to be collected, what will be collected, what it's going to be used for, and what is the real purpose of adding connectivity to a city. I think it's often the case that policymakers hear pitches from corporate partners or corporate entities who are trying to sell them on these technologies. And it's really important to ask, will this actually further a community goal, or will it create a vulnerable database that won't actually help solve the problems that we have in our city or in our community? It's important that policymakers don't blindly walk into smart city initiatives that may not be good for the community in the long term. And so as a first step, the ACLU recommends having community discussions and disclosing as much information about these partnerships as possible, so that the community and policymakers understand what exactly the plans are and what the sort of obligations are for the company to protect residents' data and the city to protect residents' data.
I'm sorry to say, Matt, that's just not what we have seen here in Houston. That one of the big concerns that's been made here recently at city council meetings in the past couple months, as Houstonians become more aware of this, is the fact that there was never a vote held on, how this should take place or whether Houstonians even wanted it, let alone there hasn't been any comment period, or as far as we know, there hasn't been any kind of environmental impacts studies and things of this sort. So there are a number of concerns ranging from the health to the people who are concerned about their property rights, as far as, how close various infrastructure might be built to where they live and to, various businesses, as well as these privacy concerns. And the only responses that I've seen take place at City Council has been a short statement from the mayor that included the following: "I love 5G." So it's unfortunate that so far we've got a couple of council members who've expressed some interest in kind of encouragement to local activists to keep coming and trying to spread awareness. But, we wanted to shine a light on this aspect because while many people are excited about the technology, and of course the things that are mentioned are these autonomous vehicles, and the city expresses a lot of pride that we get to be the first in the country. We're doing this before New York and before Chicago and these kinds of things. And we have this concern and this worry that these things are being rushed forward with that excitement and with that pride and that desire for new technology, but without all these important questions being asked that you've brought to our attention.
That's really interesting. I mean, like I said, smart city technology is just a tool, but a tool isn't effective if it's not put to a meaningful purpose and it's not understood fully. And so it's really important that in any community, before a smart city project goes forward, that there's a discussion about all of the information, that is part of the deal, the potential deal, how the information is going to be collected, and how community members' information is going to be protected, both from corporate misuse but also from governmental misuse. And so we always encourage elected leaders to bring these issues before the City Council or the Board of Supervisors for a full vote to approve or to deny these sorts of projects before they go forward, so that the political process is part of this and that community members have a chance to speak up.
Yep, and I think that's kind of been the goal of some locals here who are bringing attention to this. On that issue, have you seen any cities or localities, whether it's on the county level or even on the state level, where there has been successful, communication and dialogue between community members and city officials or, government officials in general?
We've seen a few cities in the Bay Area be really proactive about these issues and actually pass legislation that reaches both smart city technology, but also surveillance technology generally, surveillance technology that might be used for law enforcement. So a number of Bay Area cities have actually passed ordinances that require transparency, accountability, and oversight every time a technology that could be used for surveillance is being proposed for acquisition. And what this allows is for community members to learn about these things before they're collecting information about their private lives on city streets or in public parks, and to make sure that the policymakers and elected leaders know what is being proposed by city agencies and have an opportunity to ask hard questions. So there are models for legislation that communities could follow that allow everyone to have a clear-eyed debate about whether, not just how, smart city technology is the way to go.
Thank you for that information. We'll definitely try to get more people to become aware of this information, because it does seem to be an issue that is going to be important in the coming year. Houston's got a mayoral race coming up this year, so likely these issues will be a part of that race, and we appreciate that. We've been talking with Matt Cagle. He's an attorney with the American Civil Liberties Union in Northern California. Thank you for your time, Matt.
Thank you.
Find a way.
That's what we're doing up here at Free Thinker Radio.
Find a way one way or the other. That is our friends
every day
from So Below, coming at you from north side of Houston. You can find them on Bandcamp, SoundCloud. You can find them playing locally near you. Check them out on Facebook, of course. So Below. And yeah, Micah, so we just heard our interview from the ACLU attorney. For those who maybe couldn't make out some of that, because I know some of it towards the end was a little hard to hear, you know, he was just saying, hey, you know, what a city should do is consult with its community and its people and find out what the community needs, or if this is even what the community wants. And obviously that's what we've been telling you has not been taking place here in the city. The mayor, Sylvester Turner, who, by the way, is up for re-election later this year. There will be a mayoral race.
I love 5G.
Says he loves 5G and has heard no health or privacy concerns. But we just heard from an attorney with the ACLU talking about a variety of ways that there are health concerns. And, of course, you can listen to that interview in the archive after today if you want to share that with anyone else.
For sure, for sure. Maybe you find some other information about 5G, or just, you know, with the perennial topic of, you know, faster, faster, faster. You know, you can think of what they call LA, the land of 1,000 smokes, because there's so many chimneys cranking out industrial waste and all this stuff, you know.
Dude,
but hey, we just had to go faster.
I don't think we ever said the phone number.
The phone number is,
if you want to call in,
713-526-5738. We assumed you knew.
5738.
We assumed you knew. But yeah, it is 713-526-5738. We'll make sure that we're a little bit more letting you know that number. 713-526-KPFT. For this and every show, we want to be reached by you. Yes, the numbers are going up. It's great to see.
We're excited to talk to you guys because, like we said, this is a call-in show. We got guests. We got interesting things to talk about. We got music. If you got music suggestions, reach out to us. But we also want to hear from you. But one of the things that we were talking about is, and you may be aware if you've gone anywhere near a TV, there's this idea that the government is shut down. I mean, that's what I've heard. They're saying we're going on 12 days now, and there are people rioting in the streets, and
so I can go out here and exercise my rights.
You know, everything is just breaking down. Society is falling apart. As the government is shut down. Of course, you know we're being facetious here. They say it's a partial government shutdown, and there are some real world jobs, some federal government jobs, people who may have been, but a small. But what I've noticed, Micah, they're still planning on taking taxes from people. They're still dropping bombs. I just noticed there was a story this weekend about Trump's administration dropping bombs. There's still surveillance going on. I know that they're peeking at me through my computer.
Don't be fooled. It's fake news.
So you're telling me the government isn't shut down?
It's fake news. It's fake news.
The phone call is fake news, or the shutdown is fake news?
One of those two things. You take
the phone call because I'll probably end up hanging up on somebody. All right, so we got a phone call. Thanks for whoever it is. And yeah, so the shutdown is taking place. And our whole point with bringing that up is because you're going to notice on this show, we rarely ever touch on quote unquote mainstream news because there are many more important things going on than what the TV is telling you. But our goal here to see is that they tell you it's a government shutdown. It's more of a fear tactic to get people to be in panic mode when in reality, you know, all the worst aspects of government are still there, right? And you know, it's something that we don't buy into. But we got a caller, our first caller. Who do we got?
Caller?
Hello.
Oh yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Hey caller, how are you? We're live on the air.
Hey, you're great. Welcome to your FM slot and all.
Oh, thank you much. We're talking about the government shutdown, and earlier we were talking about 5G. Do you feel like what do you think about the government shutdown? Do you think it's really shut down? Do you think that's fake news? Do you think that's affecting people?
It's all fake, right?
Oh,
who are we talking to, by the way? Who do we have a name?
An alias. It's MOD.
MOD, I like that. I like aliases. Cool. Yeah, we don't need real names here.
Yeah, for sure.
But what's on your mind? What's besides congratulating us? Thank you for that. What's on your mind?
Well, I guess the 5G, I listened to a doctor testify in front of the committee. It was probably about over a month ago, but I saw it on C-SPAN, and she was talking about there is no study. There's no results except for what her general practice and understanding of that type of radiation that's created from that type of signal, that it's very bad, that it causes diabetes.
Do you know the name of the doctor? Was it Dr. Sharon Goldberg or Dr. Deborah Davis? Those are some of the more.
It was a lady, and she had brunette hair.
Yeah.
Looks sort of Spanish or Italian, whatever. It's not Anglo, though.
It may have been Dr.
It is
Deborah
interesting
Davis,
that even such coverage is getting out there, though, and people are able to, pick up on that.
Are you calling from the city of Houston, or where are you located?
Oh yeah. I'm in the middle of the mesh of radiation.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, well, if like we said, if you feel like voicing your concerns, man, any emails, phone calls, the city, they're happy to ignore you if you want to join the rest of us who've attempted. But we do plan to continue to cover this issue throughout the year, so we appreciate you calling in and sharing that with us. Anything else you'd like to say?
Just welcome aboard, and I hope that your format is open in the sense that we all have, all of us have a percentage of bias, but that we don't have NPR, National Pentagon Radio themes, or Amy Wilson Pentagon Goodman themes, that y'all actually bring information that can be, debated or analyzed, and that you will maybe bring information discussion that would be more like, instead of a result of, like you said, border problems or shutdowns, that what causes these things. Open the conversation to where the origin
Absolutely.
Of stuff, that instead of the reaction.
Absolutely. No, that's
makes sense.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, and we appreciate
Totally.
your call. We're going to go ahead and let you go for
Okay,
now, but thank you for
Bye.
that call. Yeah, so what he said there I think is important. We definitely are not reactionary. We do try to analyze news from a different perspective, and it's always going to be open for all kinds of calls. One thing you'll learn here is that me and Micah don't even expect to agree with each other, much less expect all the listeners to agree with us, and to us, that's more interesting. So if you can handle that, you can handle a lively discussion and hear our perspectives, and feel free to call in and say, hey, I think you're wrong, I think you're crazy, or hey, I agree with you, or whatever. We're very open to that. And we just want to remind everybody, of course, this is FCC Radio, so we got to be careful.
Definitely appreciate Maude's point of view, and I do appreciate the fact that the last closing party said about getting into it and digging into it and doing the research.
The origin.
Yes, for sure. And we have another caller. Are you there, ma'am?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great. And this caller wanted to address the government shutdown as well. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you. I didn't hear what the other caller said, but I did hear, I think you were asking a question and were making a statement that it's like a fear tactic. And, maybe it is a fear tactic, because I know the people that are not going to get paid, like the contractors, about 300,000 of them, once it got shut down, their salary stopped. Now, the employees will eventually be getting back pay. But in the meantime, it was Christmas. It was holidays. And there's no money. Okay? Now you've got parks that are closed. Okay? There are trash. There are actually people like just you and I going in and cleaning the parks. Okay? So it's a very real situation. And I'm an accountant. And I can't get a hold of the IRS. So I've got clients that have issues, like real serious issues. And I can't speak to anybody. So maybe it is a fear tactic, and maybe that's what the guy in the White House is trying to do, who I call like a White House terrorist child. But, it's a real thing.
Well, thank you
and there are people that are suffering.
Thank you for calling in and sharing that opinion. We absolutely appreciate it. And like you said, it's definitely, from my perspective, is a fear tactic, not only of the person in the White House, but, it seems like just the last few years, but even before the Trump administration, the Obama administration is like, oh, if we can't make a deal real quick, then there's going to be a shutdown. And, there's like right now on CNN, there's literally a countdown. Like it's been 12 days. It's going through a cycle.
Exactly. So those are the things that we need to stop.
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
We need to stop the media from doing that. But this is a very real issue. There are fellow Americans that are being severely hurt by this.
Well, we agree that people are definitely missing out on their pay, and we appreciate you bringing that point. And as we said, it is definitely a real issue. And as the last caller said, I know you said you didn't get to hear that, but he was saying he appreciates our take and our interest in getting to the origin of things, not just being reactionary and saying, well, somebody's doing this, so we're going to react, but digging deeper and
seeing that who's affected by these things, what may be the cause, why these things are used, as you said, perhaps as a fear tactic, or in different ways. So definitely thank you for your view and bringing that to home like that. Thank you
we
so
hope you'll
much.
listen. We'll be here every Friday, and we'd love to hear from you again.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And I would just say on that, Mike, I mean, you know where we stand on that issue. To me, it's like, okay, people can't get in touch with the IRS. Cool. Maybe the IRS will stop taking money from people and stop extorting them via force or coercion. That's just my view, though. But yeah, so shutdown's taking place, and there's a mix of views on it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And we just got a couple of minutes left here, and then we'll be done for the day. But we're very excited. We're thankful we had 2 callers today. Got to play Soblo, got to hear from Jumbotron, and we've talked about 5G today and tried to raise some awareness for those of you who maybe never heard about this and didn't even know this was an issue taking place in the city, didn't know that the mayor was tied closely to the telecom industry, didn't know that the mayor and city council are not answering questions, maybe didn't know the privacy and security concerns that we heard from the ACLU attorney today in our interview. So hopefully we can...
2 city council members did have some questions about 5G.
One council member, Jack Christie, does continue to support us, and Jack actually said he would come on the show, so now we have a platform to bring him on. Maybe we'll have him on in the coming months or so to talk about why he's concerned. But we appreciate everyone who has listened, and we will be here every Friday from 3 to 4. You can follow us on our channels, our platforms, Freethinker Radio. We'll be posting our archives and all the stories that we covered. What do we got left, Mike? Are you going to play a song?
Yeah, for sure. We always got more. Tune in, listen to us on
Monday.
On Monday as well. We'll get deeper into some of these subjects, take more calls on the HD side. We're going to close with some Houston original cliche here. And thank you so much for staying with us our first episode. Thanks to all the calls.
For 2 hours on Monday?
We're going to find out.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. This has been Freethinker Radio on 90.1 KPFT.
Yeah. Let's go. Slipping down the below, getting money as I go. So hard like the damn soul glow. Hustle hard all around the H-time. Now it's cliche, sitting fat down south. Just sitting where I'm